Have you ever walked past a construction site and seen a perfectly good building getting torn down and you just think, why? Well, today we're diving into the hidden logic that decides why buildings get built, why they stay standing, and why, sometimes, they have to meet the wrecking ball.
So let's kick things off with a puzzle. I want you to picture an older shopping center. You know the type, it's not glamorous, but the parking lot's usually pretty full, the stores are occupied, and hey, it's making money. So why on earth would an owner pay millions to demolish it? It sounds completely nuts, but there's a really powerful logic at play here, and we are about to pull back the curtain on it.
And believe me, this isn't just some academic thought experiment. This is a real, often billion-dollar question that top investors and developers are wrestling with every single day. The fate of entire city blocks can literally hinge on the answer.
The tool they use, their secret weapon, is a core concept called highest and best use, or HBU for short. You could say this is the bedrock of all real estate valuation. It's not about what a property is right now. It's about the very best thing it could be, as long as it passes a few very critical tests.
So, how do you find a property's true potential? Well, it's not guesswork. It's not a gut feeling. There's a rigorous process, a 4-point litmus test that every single potential idea for a property has to pass.
I want you to think of it like a gauntlet. Any new idea for a property has to run this gauntlet and survive all 4 of these tests, and, this is key, in this exact order. If it fails at any stage, it's out. Game over.
First up, is it even legal? You might have a brilliant idea for a 50-story skyscraper, but if the local zoning laws say, nope, nothing over 3 stories here, well, your idea is dead on arrival. Zoning, environmental rules, historic preservation laws, these things create the very first gate.
Okay, so your idea passed the legal test. Great. Now for question number 2. Can you actually build it there? I mean, is the land stable bedrock, or is it basically a swamp? Is the lot big enough for your design? Can you even get access to water, sewer, and power? You simply can't build a giant warehouse on a tiny steep hillside, even if the zoning technically allows it. It's just not physically possible.
All right, it's legal and it's physically possible. The third gate is maybe the most important one of all. Will it make money? This is the financial feasibility test. You could legally and physically build a beautiful 5-star hotel, but if there's no market demand for it in that neighborhood, if you can't charge enough to cover your costs, it's a complete non-starter. The numbers have to work. Period.
Now here's where it gets really interesting. You might actually have several different ideas that pass the first 3 tests. Maybe a new apartment building, an office tower, and a retail center are all legally, physically, and financially viable options. The final step, the one that seals the deal, is to figure out which of those options is maximally productive, the single one that will generate the absolute highest return.
Okay, so we've got our 4-step gauntlet. Now let's use this framework to finally solve our mystery. Why would anyone in their right mind demolish a profitable building?
Analysts tackle this by looking at the property in 2 completely different ways. First, they analyze it as vacant. They pretend the existing building isn't even there, it's just an empty plot of land. And they ask, what is the absolute best thing we could build here from scratch? Then, they look at it as improved, with the current building still standing, and they ask, okay, does it still make sense to keep this thing as it is?
And this is the tipping point. The decision comes down to a surprisingly simple formula called the demolition test. If the value of the land, as if it were vacant, is greater than the value of the property as it is right now, even after you add in the cost of tearing the old building down, then the choice is pretty clear.
And there it is, the mystery is solved. For our aging but profitable shopping center, if a developer calculates that the land underneath it is so incredibly valuable for new apartments that its as-vacant value just blows away the current retail value plus demolition costs, well then, redevelopment is the only logical answer. The potential of the future simply outweighs the profit of the present.
Now, this isn't just an abstract calculation on a spreadsheet. This hidden logic is a powerful, invisible force that is constantly shaping the cities we all live in. Its influence is absolutely everywhere. Appraisers value properties based on HBU. Investors are constantly hunting for properties where they can unlock a higher potential. And banks, you're not getting a big construction loan without a rock-solid HBU analysis. It's the engine that drives the whole system. And here's a crucial point. HBU isn't set in stone. It evolves as cities and markets change. A site that was perfect for an office tower back in the 80s might see its market completely vanish. Its best use then might become just a simple parking lot,
what's called an interim use, basically just waiting until market conditions shift again, and its true destiny as a residential tower finally makes financial sense.
Once you know what you're looking for, you can see these strategies playing out everywhere. You see an old factory being turned into cool lofts? That's adaptive reuse. The HVU shifted from industrial to residential. A developer buying up a whole row of small houses to build one big apartment complex? That's land assemblage, creating a site big enough for a higher and better use.
By understanding this framework, you've essentially gained a new pair of glasses. You can now look at the world around you and see this invisible layer of potential, the hidden value that professionals are always searching for.
And this is exactly where fortunes are made. As one source puts it, finding properties where the current use is out of sync with its true potential, that is how sophisticated investors find their competitive edge, their alpha.
So, if there's one key takeaway, it's this. In real estate, true value isn't just about the money a property is making today. It's always about its ultimate potential.
So next time you're walking through your neighborhood and you see an old building or a vacant lot, ask yourself, what is its highest and best use? What unseen potential is hiding right there in plain sight?